I know it's been a while since my last upload, but this viral question has been driving me insane for months and I need to talk about it. There's an age-new question being thrown around at women and it's this.
Would you rather be stuck in a forest with a man or a bear?
Bear. Men are scary.
With a bear.
What I've heard about bears, they don't always attack you, right? Unless you like them. So maybe a bear.
Depends what man, but probably a bear.
100% a bear, which is like terrifying to say, but
definitely a bear. Some men are very scary out there.
A bear.
I would say a man.
And there's been plenty of people who simply don't get why a woman would choose a bear over a man. For today's video, I will try and help everyone better understand the underlying message behind the man or bear question, and by the end, you all will hopefully come to a place of understanding. Before things get too hairy, no, the TikToks presented do not reflect all attitudes from either side, but they are the ones I found most relevant to convey the point of this video. Let's start off with what is being said about the bear defense.
Okay, this whole bear versus man debate, I would obviously choose the bear, and I'm gonna explain why in two reasons. Number one, the question was, would you rather be alone in the woods with a bear or a man? They never specified that I would be outside. They just said, would I rather be alone in the woods with a bear or a man? Alone could mean that I'm alone in a cabin. And if I'm in a cabin, I'm 1,000,000% picking the bear. Because if I'm in a cabin by myself, nobody else with me, and I look outside my window and there's a bear, it's fine. It's just a bear. He's supposed to be here. This is his hood, okay? He probably just wants to use my hot tub, okay? It's just a bear. But if I look outside my window while I'm alone in a cabin in the woods and I see a man, I am going to piss my pants, okay? And then I'm gonna literally spontaneously combust because there's no way in hell. Okay, reason number two, now let's just say I do happen to be outside alone in the woods with the bear or a man. I would still pick the bear, and here's why. If I'm gonna be in the woods, I would come prepared, okay? Because a girl like me, I don't go to the woods. I go to the mall. Okay, I don't go to the woods. So if I was in the woods, I would come prepared. I would have bear spray, bear mace, whatever it is I needed to defend myself for a bear. I would be prepared to encounter a bear. You can never be prepared to encounter a man. Plus, I'm sorry, but my vibe is literally just different. Like, if I encountered a bear, he would leave me alone because he would be like, she has good vibes. Like, her aura is mad different. Why would I mess with her? I can't say the same for a man.
No, I think I'm really lost in the woods. Oh my god, is that a bear?
Well,
oh my god, who are
all
you?
you females said you'd rather be in the woods with a bear than a man, and now look at you, all scared of a bear.
Okay, well, I'm also kind of scared of you right now. Like, who are you? Were you following me?
Yeah, I'm just a normal guy, and you're acting like a crazy bitch now, and have fun getting mauled by a bear.
Hey, is this guy bothering you? Yeah.
See, you're about to get mauled because you chose the bear. I bet you're feeling pretty stupid right now, but whatever, I'm gonna have fun watching you get torn to shreds.
I just ate. I don't really know what you're talking about, but you're being kind of weird.
You're a bear. You attack people. I've seen videos of it.
Well, you're a man, so you also attack people. A lot more people than I do. And you also attack bears sometimes, okay? I saw The Revenant. Like, I only attack things when I feel threatened or I need to eat. Like, you're foaming at the mouth hoping that I attack her to feel self-righteous.
I don't fantasize about women getting hurt. I fantasize about fish and berries.
And if I did attack her, no one would be like, well, what was she wearing? Was she drunk? This is what she gets for camping.
And if I did attack her, people would be hunting me down. They wouldn't be like, well, the bear has a promising future in water polo, so maybe we should be lenient. Women don't walk down the streets at night hoping they're not getting followed by a bear. Women don't cover their drinks in case of a bear attack. I'm not gonna get aggressive with her if she says no, because I don't understand English. I could go on and on and on and on, but we would be here all goddamn day.
So why don't you just focus on making yourself the kind of man a woman would choose over a bear?
Ma'am, would you like to be escorted out of the woods?
That would be lovely. Thank you. You know, I would trust you to hold my drink.
Because at least with the bear's not gonna just date me for my money. Okay, so men have been saying that they would rather pick the bear over a woman, and let's talk about it. If that's what you would pick, that's what you would pick. I'm not going to talk you out of that. But for men saying this, y'all don't really mean that. You're just saying it because we said that we would pick the bear over y'all, and that bothers y'all. Y'all don't like the idea that we would rather be stuck in the woods with a bear than with you. And the same thing happened with the 4B movement. When it became more known about and popularized, men came up with their own movement. Women will do things in response to the harm that y'all do, and then y'all want to get vindictive and say, well, we could do that too. We could do that too. You're not the only ones that could do that. We could do it too. And y'all don't really have a real reason to do it. It's just because we did it and it bothers y'all. And notice the difference of reasonings. We're talking about being assaulted and brutalized by men, whereas y'all are talking about not wanting to be stuck in the woods with a single mother or be stuck in the woods with a woman that would use you for your money. Do we see the difference there? Y'all don't see women as threats the way that we see y'all as threats. I did a video recently talking about how you should basically be doing background reports on people that you're dating, because I want to know if you got a long, lengthy criminal history or if you hiding a wife with kids. And a guy came into my comment section and said, no, that's not important. I want to know that body count. The things that y'all are worried about when it comes to us is not violence. Y'all are worried about body counts. Y'all are worried about whether a woman has kids or not. Y'all are worried about not getting used for your money. All non-life-threatening things. I'm trying to figure out what your criminal record is because I don't want to be in a relationship with a domestic abuser and you're just worried about how many people I slept with because you think if I slept with too many people, my value has gone down. Do you see the difference of importance of what we look for in each other? I can guarantee you there are some men that probably do this, but a lot of men aren't checking women's backgrounds. A lot of men are not crossing the street when a woman is walking towards them on the same street. And if we're being honest, a lot of y'all would choose to be in the forest or in the woods with a woman. And whether your intention for wanting to be in the forest or the woods with us is good or bad, you know that more than likely we are not going to be a threat to you because we have not proven ourselves to be. And y'all know that.
Are y'all realizing that myself and other women are saying bear because we would quite literally rather die? And then we have some people saying, well, not all bears, just because one bear did it doesn't mean that all bears would do it. You shouldn't be scared of all bears. Let's get a lineup of bears and you show me which one I should be fucking scared of. In this Target right now, you point out to me which men I should and should not be fucking scared of. Well, I don't know. Exactly. At least a bear wouldn't fucking show videos and photos and dap up their buddies after. At least a bear couldn't say the words, well, she liked it, she asked for it. A bear would probably leave you alone even after you were dead. To get most bears to leave you alone, all you have to do is scream loud enough. Can't say the same. Women are asking their guy best friends, their boyfriends, their husbands, their fucking fathers, and they're all saying the same thing. Why do you think that is? Bears don't grasp the concept of wrong and right, but you know who does. At least a bear didn't pretend to be your friend for months beforehand just to get what it wanted in the end.
If it isn't clear by now, Team Bear is more worried about being attacked by a man than a bear. Let's go over some of their points. Bears aren't capable of sexual assault. Bears do not have a sense of morality. Bears will not manipulate you. Bears in their natural habitat are expected. Bears can be scared away with enough noise. Bears will kill less people than men on average. Bears only act on instinct. Bears are guaranteed to be punished for their crime. And bears don't drug women. On the surface, these reasons could come across as foolish to those who are already familiar with the difference between wild animals and humans. But the points being made show fear of fates worse than death. Women cannot always tell what a man's intentions are. If they're already in the woods isolated from others, the chance of being overpowered by a man is present, and while yes, bears can also overpower them and kill them, men could potentially use them for their body before or even after drawing their final breath. To many women, this is seen as an ultimately worse way to go out than to be mauled by an animal that doesn't know right from wrong. I hope I painted that picture as clearly as I possibly could, but just in case you still don't understand, here's some more comments from women.
If I survive the bear attack, I won't have to see the bear at family reunions. The worst thing the bear can do is kill me. The bear sees me as a human being. After what those men did to that monitor lizard, the bears are not safe with men either. The bear doesn't get enjoyment out of it. The bear didn't pretend to be my friend for months beforehand. No one will say that I liked the bear attack. No one will talk about the bear's bright future. If the bear and the man both want to hurt me and I scream loud enough, there's a better chance that the bear will actually run away. A bear wouldn't film it and send it to all his friends. The men getting angry at this don't realize that there are fates worse than death. Ask Junko Furuta, Sadie Robinson, Shannon Watts if they would choose the man or the bear.
For additional context, the monitor lizard was in reference to an incident where 4 men were caught gang raping, killing, and eating said lizard in India. The 3 names listed at the end were of female victims whose lives were taken by men. I would talk about them here, but these cases are potentially too grim for certain viewers. I'll leave resources in the comments though. Fair warning, it gets pretty dark. There's also plenty of personal horror stories of women coming forward with their past experiences with men that are just heartbreaking to read. Alright, so we have a general idea of why women are choosing bear in the hypothetical, but what is being said about Team Man? This is one of the more common types of posts that have been derived from the hypothetical, and it sure is something. Instead of engaging with real arguments that are made, men are infantilizing women and acting like they believe bears are cuddle buddies to befriend in the wilderness. It's still not as bad as the types of people who think making gory depictions of women getting mauled to death for memes is something a rational person does.
So a lot of you guys have asked me about this topic about a woman being alone with a man or a bear in the woods. I don't even know why this is a conversation. Like, it's obviously the man. And it's crazy because a bunch of these women are acting like all men are Jeffrey Dahmer or something.
Here's a bit of a brain teaser for you. Do you think Jeffrey Dahmer's victims knew he was a killer before letting him into their homes and meeting in private? Didn't think so either. A common misconception that these men make is believing that women think all men will commit a crime. No, not all men will, but all men potentially could. They don't know whether or not you are safe just by looking at you. Hell, it's not even uncommon for victims to be assaulted by someone they do know. It's a gamble, really, and the odds aren't always in their favor.
From the most recent I could find, about 1.4% of the adult male population is in prison. Of that, about half of that is for violent crime. So about 0.7% of males are locked up for violent crime, which means the vast majority of men are not like that and do not do those things. Let me say this in a different way. If you were in school and your teacher came back and on your paper you made a 99.3 on your assignment, would you say that's a good grade? Yes, you would. The vast majority of men would do nothing to you if they saw you in the woods. You're far more likely to be helped by a man in the woods than to be harmed, especially if you look distressed or like you need help.
The problem with this type of conclusion is that it assumes all sex offenders go to prison, which is far from the truth. According to numerous sources, roughly 30 to 40% of rape cases are even reported to the police, allowing many rapists to not ever face charges.
Now I've seen people asking about their daughters. Let's say you did have a daughter. Would you want a man or a bear? A man any day of the week. For one, that bear cannot communicate. That bear couldn't help get your daughter anywhere. That bear couldn't get your daughter to safety. That bear couldn't get your daughter out of the woods. That bear wouldn't even care. Your daughter would be lucky that that bear did not slaughter her.
Not so sure about that. Plenty of fathers teach their daughters how to fight off a man more often than a bear. It's not for fun either. There's a valid reason for doing so.
So this is from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Read the highlight below me. The first thing, never approach bears. Always remain at least 100 yards away from the bears, or the length of a football field. That's the first rule. Stay away. That's not because they're safe, predictable, and lovely. No, it's because they could rip you apart, and they have done so. I'm choosing the man every single time.
So looking at the source he provided, it's made clear that as long as you secure your food and keep your distance, you most likely won't ever have bear problems. In fact, with 2 additional clicks, you'll come across this page explaining that bears are not naturally aggressive towards humans. Unless the bear is startled protecting cubs or guarding a large food source, bears usually avoid any interaction with people. They usually aren't antagonistic until someone starts feeding them food, which is also another problem. Some people who argue against bear assume that a bear is guaranteed to attack, which simply isn't true, much like any man. Also, can we talk about how some of these rules also apply to avoiding rapists? Carry spray on you, avoid going out at night, stick within groups. Notice how his main conclusion is that bears can be dangerous and mocks the idea that bears are safe, predictable, and lovely. It shouldn't be a surprise that a man chooses man and dismisses why women choose bear.
Oh, would you rather choose a bear or a man? It don't sound like that lady wanted to choose the bear. It sounded like she wanted to choose the man instead.
Giggling like a child over someone fearing for their life is sociopathic behavior, especially when his attitude derives from a simple would you rather question online that hurt his ego.
If you were stuck in the woods, you know what? Let's flip the script. Fellas, would you rather be stuck in the woods with a woman or a bear? Let me know, because I think, you know what? I think I would rather choose the bear. Because at least with the bear's not going to just date me for my money and in the divorce take half my stuff or more. Like at first it was questionable. I'm like, dang, what's more scarier, a woman or a bear? Because a woman lies. A woman will lie on you. You know how many football players I've seen get lied on and lose their whole NFL chance and career behind a woman lying, saying they did something they didn't do? Yeah, I think a bear. I'm going bear, bro. I'm going bear. I don't care. I'm going bear. Yeah. I'm going bear because at least a bear is going to get it over with. A woman is going to rip me of my dignity and my freedom at the same time and my finances. So, yeah, I'm going bear.
So close. Just barely missed the point. Hey man, you know what strips women of their dignity? Being used as an object for pleasure without their consent. Let us all take a moment to acknowledge that his worst fear of what a woman could do to him is not life-threatening. While women aren't even expecting to leave the forest alive, this guy does. Like, what does he expect to happen with a woman in the forest? Is she going to lie so much he dies on the spot? What, is she going to manipulate the bear into attacking you? Do you see the difference of what women are concerned about over men? So many of these people just fail to see the big picture and instead internalize the question into believing it's an attack against men. Y'all might want to get comfortable, because this one is just one long mess.
I'm a sexual assault survivor. When I was 15, a 55-year-old woman assaulted me and 3 of my friends at a party where she served a bunch of 15-year-olds alcohol. Way to go, Granny. And I don't hate women. I've stepped in to defend women against attacks from men in city streets or bars. I can't say if they're all sexually related or sexually motivated. They probably were. But when we get to the question of this, I do empathize for victims. I get that. But the question isn't real, and we all know the question isn't real. It's hypothetical. I was just at a store. There are hundreds or thousands of people at this Walmart, men and women, walking around, doing their thing, minding their own business. Not a single woman in there was shifty-eyed, dysphoric, or afraid of any of the men in that store. I was just at a restaurant. I was at a bank. I was at a coffee shop. I was walking through a park. No one was afraid of men. Replace any of those men with one bear and see what happens.
So there's a reason why this hypothetical involves a woman being in the woods and not at a JCPenney. Hey fellas, are you scared of being assaulted at a Walmart if there's employees stocking shelves and worn out parents shopping around you? Are you terrified of being used for your body at a Wendy's while a family of 4 is eating their Dave singles at the next table over? The answer is most likely no. Women are not afraid of being attacked while out in public. They have the protection of social pressures to prevent anything from happening to them. Literally anyone can record you at any given moment in public. Same reason that many women prefer having a first date at a public outing than at somebody's home.
So because we know it's hypothetical, let's have an adult conversation. Ready? The existence of the question at all creates bias against men. I can trick you just the same way. I'd say, what do you think Islamic men use more to murder their wives with? Guns or knives or rope? The fact that I asked the question, you'd go, well, why is he asking that question? Do they murder their wives a lot? The question is safety, bear, man, alone, right? Those are the 4 real words in that question. It is embedding a bias against men.
The example he just gave is a logical fallacy type known as a loaded question. His question assumes that a certain debatable or controversial statement is true and doesn't leave room open for any argument. Unlike the woods question, because it doesn't assume anything about the bear, let alone the man, it simply gives women the option to choose in a made-up scenario. The bear isn't the correct choice, nor is the man. They are simply choices over one another.
Every woman that has answered that question, bear, has stepped out in public since. Has interacted with hundreds of men. The average woman will interact with 300 men per day. Maybe they opt for the bear just because they want to mix it up. They're like, I'm getting so bored with the thousands of men that I see every week that maybe I just want to see a bear.
If you genuinely do not understand why some women are choosing bear, then literally just ask them. Maybe you'll become more understanding of their stance instead of making up shower arguments to throw half-baked arguments at. His condescending attitude is what irks me the most.
I don't think you understand the gravity of this question. As a abuse survivor, I'm standing up against a false claim against the nature of men, where 1 in 1,000 men, or maybe just a hair over 1 in 1,000 men, will commit a crime of this nature. That's a very thin number of men. And as a man whose family was responsible for starting World War I, you know, the assassination by the Black Hand, the Archduke Franz Ferdinand, my family paid for that assassination. We started World War I, which is why World War II happened. Because I'm so closely tied to that genocide, I've studied it. And Hitler and the Germans used the same type of questionings and comparative logic to wage war against Jews.
I can't in good faith take his argument seriously with how much he leaps with his logic. For the sake of time, I'm not going to delve too deeply into whatever war crime he just admitted to publicly.
I'm literally trying to stop thousands of women who don't know any better but then to participate in a trend from creating this wave of propaganda against men. Someone is trying to use this question against men, and women think it's a cool, dramatic way to say, I'm afraid of men.
Propaganda implies that the argument against men is misleading, when the question doesn't imply anything about men. Believe it or not, people are capable of having their own reasons for choosing things based on personal anecdotes and statistical data.
The question appeals to a logical fallacy called the fallacy of relative privation. They're trying to say that because a single man could do more harm than a single bear, that all men are more dangerous than all bears on average, regardless of the context of the interaction. That fallacy of relative privation strips all logic to the fact that men are by and large safe.
Relative privation would imply that one answer is invalid over the other. There are still women who are free to choose man over bear without judgment. There is no objectively correct answer to this hypothetical.
But yeah, 81% of women will report being sexually harassed or assaulted. 43% of men, just the same. The number of people who will experience unwanted sexual contact, men and women, are roughly the same. Men will underreport at 3 times the rate of women. Men are victimized just as much, but we're stigmatized against talking about it.
He says that as if women aren't also stigmatized for coming out against rape. He does know that there are still women scrutinized for that, right?
Both sides are victims, but men are not doing this campaign to smear women to try to damage the entire, gender of women. Except for me now. I'm doing what's called logical parallels. My whole argument for the last 2 weeks has been such. Since women assault children, their biological kids, at 2.5x the rate that all men assault all women sexually, then women should lose custody of their kids until they stop it, because the phrase going around online right now is all men until no men. So until no women, all women, women do not deserve custody of their biological kids if any of them are capable of harming a child, because children are innocent, and honestly, all parallels aside, it's the abuse of children that is propagating people who are becoming monsters later on in life. So if anyone could make a decision right now to make the world a better place in the next 15 years, it's women not abusing their kids. It's already too late for us as adults. We're already screwed. We all have our trauma that we have to work through, and that's going to be a dogfight. But if we want to guarantee the world's going to be a better place, let's stop abusing kids.
Alright, I'll admit I'm not the best at researching niche topics and I struggle with finding good data at times, but I cannot find anything promoting this statistic. I have no clue where he even pulled that from, and unfortunately, he didn't provide a source either. Even if this is true, it's incredibly disgusting to weaponize child abuse against rape statistics. Neither should be utilized as an argument against the other. Shifting the blame on women for a different problem instead of addressing the main issue being discussed is blatant deflection.
So the reason why women are choosing the bear is because it's not a real question, and they won't have consequences if they answer in a dramatic way for effect. Just like the 30-something% of boys that are like, well, dude, if there's no consequences, I'd totally take advantage of a chick. See, yeah, maybe people are bad people by nature, but people still obey the law. And that's why if 32% of college men would commit SA if there's no consequences, but then only 1 out of every 1,000 men will commit that crime, that shows how much people have discipline over their nature, and you cannot say the same thing about a bear.
There's actually plenty of women that would choose bear because they lack a moral compass. If a bear attacks you out of instinct, you can't blame the bear. But too often, men with full autonomy over their bodies will still be allowed to roam free after violating someone else because of an honest mistake. To summarize what we just watched, this guy doesn't know how social pressure works, cannot call out a logical fallacy properly, has ties to the start of World War I, and would rather switch topics than provide a relevant argument. This last one is a personal favorite of mine, and you'll see why.
Would you rather have your daughter be in the woods, like little daughter in the woods with a bear, or a man?
Hey Amanda, my mom got mauled by a bear. Here's a book she wrote about it. Here's a better look. So even though the question's not really in good faith probably, I have some experience with this question. Would I rather my mom be in the woods with a guy, or a creature that would hunt her, jump up, grab her by the face, chomp down, cause her to have to take her thumb, jab it into its eyes to get enough mouth space to call to the dogs, an Irish wolfhound and a mastiff, to come over and tackle it off, and then crawl through a rattlesnake-infested bramble thicket to her car, where she drove 3 miles down a dirt road, with her face hanging off, at one point looking into the rearview mirror and saying, "Oh, that's weird, my white hat stayed on, turned out to be her skull," making it to the fire station, getting helivac to the college, and then, going through 17 hours of painful surgery to get back to something resembling a human, the answer may surprise you. If you're still on the fence about it and have a strong stomach, Google image search Allena Hansen bear. But I'm a guy, so I decided to take it a step further and asked my mom. Because taking away the bear, she's been through things you wouldn't even possibly begin to imagine. And her answer was, well, the word asinine was thrown around a lot. So if you're asked this question and you take more than a second to come up with the same species as your answer, then honestly, I'm grateful that you've lived such a privileged life that your answer is the bear.
Claiming that women who would rather encounter an apex predator than be potentially raped privileged sure is a choice of words. The best part is that people actually did exactly as he said and looked her up, only to find that after having such a gruesome experience, she is still more terrified of encountering a man in the woods than a bear. You cannot make this shit up. His apology video is even more embarrassing.
It did not. I've been reading everyone's comments and stories and a lot of DMs, and frankly, many of you have had really good insight, and I appreciate it. The original question did strike a very, very niche nerve about someone close to me, and I'm sorry to say my response did not fully consider people's experiences. I should have. Wasn't my intention, but, that people get hurt, it doesn't matter. So I hope one day we can get to a point where people don't automatically assume the worst of a hypothetical stranger, but until then, we live in the world we do.
So close to being a genuine moment of reflection, but alas, he couldn't even bother to say I'm sorry. And as a surprise to absolutely nobody, the arguments I found on Instagram were even worse, comparing humans to inanimate objects, victim blaming, and equating false rape allegations to actual rape, implying that both are just as bad as each other. Yikes. These last two videos, I think, perfectly encapsulate what men should be taking away from the way women answer the hypothetical.
So fucking for real right now. There's no way y'all would rather be trapped in the woods with a bear over a man. Yeah.
You just perfectly demonstrated why women would rather be stuck in the woods with a bear than a man. You drove that point home, and you still missed it. That point might as well have hit you over the head, knocked you out, and you still would not get the point. This is a hypothetical situation, and you still can't take a no for an answer. That is the point. That despite them voicing their opinion on what they consent to, and you still will not take that as an answer, is the point. You went through a list of men and bears and asked the question again, but guaranteed you pull up your face and the answer will still be that bear. The entire point of this hypothetical is to demonstrate how men are incapable of respecting a woman's choice or ability to reject you. That is the point.
It's not about the bear. Fine, in a literal sense, yeah, they're probably in more danger with a bear. That's not the point. It's not about the bear. Listen, it's an analogy. Okay, listen. Hey, dads, if you have daughters, answer me this. Have you ever explained to your daughter what to do if some guy grabs her, tries to put her in the back of a van? You have. Scream, claw, fight, scratch, bite, kick, punch, whatever. Why do you feel compelled to explain that to her? Why do you feel compelled to explain to her that dying on the street fighting back is better than dying in the way that whatever's going to happen in that van? Why do you feel compelled to explain it to her? Why do you feel compelled to explain to her that if she scratches and bites, when they find her body, they're going to get DNA evidence? Why do we feel compelled to explain it to her? Because it happens enough that these fears are legitimate. Stop arguing back and listen. Enough women go through enough of these experiences, and oh, well, not me, it's not all men. Go f yourself. It's enough men, enough women experience these horrible things that it compels all women to have this legitimate fear of men. Shut up and listen. Christ, this is the whole point of what they're talking about. Instead of listening and understanding why they're scared, you internalize it and make it about your feelings. Shut the up and listen. Get introspective about it.
And if that didn't compel you to consider a woman's perspective, maybe the original catalyst for the whole hypothetical will.
The bear or man in the woods thing was never actually a would you rather question. I know because I'm the one who started it, and I figured I'd use this tag to clarify some things. On March 12th, I ended a video by saying, if you're alone in the woods, seeing a man is 10 times scarier than seeing a bear. Someone commented on that video saying, no, seeing a bear is so much scarier than seeing a man, bro. I responded to that comment laying out why women are more scared of men than the bear, and that response went viral on the 19th. This topic started trending and growing for a few weeks, and then it really blew up with the street interviews. I never presented it as a would you rather question because I already knew that women were picking the bear and men were picking the man. My whole page is trying to get people who look like me to empathize with and understand the life experiences of people who don't look like us. So my intention here was to get men to think about why the world looks so different for women that they would actually choose the bear. And my challenge to any man watching who picks the man in this scenario is, can you get yourself to a place where you would rather pick the bear? Can you get to that level of understanding? Because if you can bring yourself to understand why they choose the bear, congratulations. You've experienced 1% of 1% of 1% of what they experience every day of their lives, and you experienced it for 2.5 minutes.
Literally just a few days ago, I was talking to my stepmom about my video, and when I brought to her attention that there was a man on TikTok who already knew that women were going to choose the bear, she asked if he was gay. While this can be seen as a little funny because of how outlandish the question may seem, it's kind of sad. Think about it. So many people in our society don't expect for straight men to understand women's struggles, and as men we gotta do better. The same goes for women understanding men's struggles, especially with mental health and how stigmatized it is for men to talk about it in public. We as a society need to get better at understanding each other's perspectives instead of ignoring them and making them up in order to fight against them. So with all that being said, what is the point of all this? Much like with any random hypothetical, there are bound to be disagreements in which answer one should choose. This does not mean one answer is more valid than the other. If a woman says she'd rather pick the bear because she doesn't want to risk getting raped, that's valid. If a woman says she'd rather pick the man because he could help her survive in the forest, that's also just as valid. My problem does not stem from someone choosing one answer over another. It's the fact that so many men refuse to listen, or even worse, choose to dismiss women's rationale. If literally anyone says that they'd rather risk the chance of being mauled by an apex predator than the chance of being raped in the wilderness, there is no reason why your pride should be hurt. If you do feel personally attacked by that statement, maybe look further into why that is. I'm not a woman, nor do I claim to be a voice for them, but I will claim to be a voice of empathy and understanding. So many people are using different scenarios in retaliation instead of engaging with the one being discussed. I've seen the start of the hypothetical asking men if they would rather share their feelings with a tree or a woman. While men's mental health is important, it shouldn't be used against women's safety. Listen to others' experiences and learn to empathize and show compassion instead of making up reasons for why they believe certain truths. Become the man a woman would feel safe being alone in the woods with. That is all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching the video. I do plan on making another one in July, hopefully before that month ends, in which I will be criticizing Ben Shapiro's shallow review of the Barbie movie like a year ago. I meant to do it a lot sooner, but here I am now. I have a whole year of being able to reflect on his words and just work on my video style first before engaging with it. Anyways, see you in the next one. Thank you so much. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that junk. And see you later.